This is so cool.
This is the 3D face project. It has been so much fun to make. This video is going to go through brainstorming, customizing, making it. And at the end of this video, I'm going to go over what I've learned about creativity, what I've learned about teaching this project, about students, and about being a maker teacher in this setting. Let's get going. What is possible to make with just cardboard, hot glue, and paint? Optional, we might have some springs or rubber bands in there, but some 3D printed parts. I made 5 examples trying to make this thing. Here we go. Unicorn. This is our ant face. This is the 3D face project. It is a designer project that's going to be just right for students who are getting going and have some skills but want to see how creative they can be. It's definitely going to fit in the practice category because we've done beginner projects, we need practice to learn what's possible, and then we're going to step it up with the advanced. Then there's this guy with a jiggle beard, and somebody 3D printed a monocle that can go on there. Hey, the top skill you're going to need coming into this is to neatly cut cardboard. So you're going to take details, and you're going to need to be able to cut them out neatly. You don't need to be able to paint neatly. We're going to be painting everything one color each. But if you can't get it cut out nicely, this project's not going to work out very well. Here we have a deep sea diver in a diving helmet. And here's my 5th example. Mistakes made, the eyes better. Hey, let's talk about brainstorming. I want you to look at what's on the top of the screen here. Do not marry your first idea. The first thought that pops into your head doesn't have to be the thing you do. And maybe the 5th thought you have is the one that you really, 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 really will love. If you marry your first thought, you're never going to have that 5th thought. So let's check this out. In Google Images, take some objects like a hat. I'm going to type hat icon, and I'm finding simple images of hats. Mask icon will give you simple mask ideas. You could just type cat face icon, and maybe that'll give you a nice starting point for something like this. You don't have to copy it exactly, but this can help you see the shapes that are out there and hopefully come up with something that you really get excited about. For a different lesson, I had all of these set up. You can see what I searched for to find it. And all these ideas will make this just a lot more fun. The details that you add can be super simple. In fact, I would say the more simple, probably the better it'll turn out until you're really sure of yourself and you know exactly what you're making. So this was a lesson for my designers, and I found the tip at the end here. It still applies. Don't glue these pieces to your project yet. We're gonna paint them at least before we glue them on. So make sure that you are just cutting them out and setting them off to the side. We've got a nice example of this cutting it off and setting it to the side. This monkey mask, here it is before they assembled it. You can see that the pieces were shaped, colored differently, and then assembled after the fact. And to wrap it up, I just want to show you a couple more ideas of what could be made. You could have stuff off to the side. The way you color it can be what you change. You can go kind of crazy, sunglasses, mustache, dumbbells, a guy with a hat. Make one part gigantic, like this has an enormous eyes. You could make the elephant and then add the ears on later, or just do something silly with a giant mustache and eyebrows and a big nose. Try to come up with 5 different ideas you like, and when you have 5, see if 2 of them can squish together in some way. After much brainstorming, I've decided to make a horse. Maybe it'll become a unicorn. I'm going to make an ant. See how that goes. Maybe I'll get the jaws to work. I want to make a deep sea diver, an old time style. I'm going to make a mountain man with a beard. Maybe it'll move or jiggle, or the mouth will go up and down. And lastly, I'm going to make this chicken face thing. Now, as I'm sketching, you know how when you sketch a circle, you kind of use lots of strokes. It looks like a super angry chicken here, and I didn't mean for that to happen, but it's kind of fun. So maybe we'll try to work that into the final design. This is one of those mistakes that makes it better. Now I've got my design drawn on a nice big piece of cardboard right in the middle, and the trick here is to not cut out where you think you're going to cut out. If this is my horse head, I'm going to give it a border on the outside. Try to follow the shape, but you don't have to be exact. This line that I'm drawing, this is what I'm going to cut out. Just to say it again, I'm not going to cut out the shape that I want. I'm going to leave a border on the outside, and we'll see what we do with it in a second. Now, the mandible teeth thing here on this ant, they're not going to get cut out right now. I'm going to cut these out from a separate piece and attach them later. I only want the shape of the head for now. Now that I've got the main head shape cut out, what I need to do is cut little relief cuts going in, because this is going to become the side of that thing. So as we work our way around, I'm just cutting to the line that I made. You don't want to make your cuts too small, because then you have a lot of flaps to glue down. I need to bend every single one of these tabs on the line, try my best to follow the shape that I made, and you can start to see the 3D shape that we're going for start to pop out. With all of these tabs now bent down, you can start to see how this becomes a 3D shape. Let's flip it over, take a look at it here. These tabs are all going to need to get glued in such a way that they get held up like this. And I've seen kids try to do it where they glue every little bit. There's always a better way. For example, we're going to take this strip of cardboard and glue it in here so that we have something to glue it to hold it down, to make sure that it stays. So now I'll take a tab and hold it all the way up, straight up and down against that cardboard. Cardboard doesn't want to bend. You're going to have to show it who's boss. Make sure that you don't let it boss you around. Okay? I'm holding with this hand while that hot glue dries, and I'm going back here. I'm going to get the next couple ready. Fold it up. Fold it up. Now I can move my hand over. I'm going to hold those two tabs with this hand. I'll get the next two going. When one strip runs out, I'll need to make another one. So that was the horse face, but here is the ant head. And you can see that there's a band on the inside holding that together. Here is that chicken head. The deep diving helmet. It came together really nicely. Hey, just to review, this is the main shape. We made it 3D. I've got multiple sizes for the eyes set up. These are what I'm going to call details. We're going to cut out and color the details before we attach them, because putting them at different spots very much changes what the project looks like. So these are paper mache, and I've also cut out the detail pieces. Here's the hat, here's the beard, and I'm trying different shapes for eyes for this crazy lumberjack. Maybe that's what I'll go with. Here's my horse head. If it's a unicorn, it might be the horn. Here's my first attempt at making ears for it. I think they're a little too small. I don't really know how I want to do the eyes on this thing yet. Those don't look very good. Here is the diving helmet. Here is the crazy chicken head. My first attempt at a beak, and I'm not sure how the eyes are going to go. The reason these are separate is because now I can play around with different placements and see how they look. This looks very different than this. Being able to move them around is super handy. And here's this ant face. You can see the antenna and the eyes. I want to have these pinchers move. Well, there's this hugger mechanism. I've got different video on how to make. I'm going to try to make this move at the bottom. Now that a lot of this stuff is set up, I'm going to go and I'm going to paint the 3D shape, and I'm going to paint these details. Once it's all painted and ready, I'll be connecting them as my final step. Here's what I'll have displayed to my class as we are working on this. We'll work our way down the sequence. So after we finalize our plan and drawing, we're going to draw the shapes on cardboard. We're going to cut those main shapes out, fold them and make them 3D. Then we have to make all the details and paint the details before we attach them. Here's what ends up going on my screen during that time. Here's day one. I have them practice the sequence by doing this activity where they cut these out and try to put them in the right order. Then here we are on day two. I have them check the plan with me to make sure that they add that border around the outside of their main shape so they can make it 3D later. Now on day three, I will have students cut out the main shape, make relief cuts. That's those little cuts that they made on that border that's going to make it 3D. Or they make their long strip of cardboard, which will be the band that goes inside, helps to make it 3D. And then they glue the band to the main shape. Here we are in day four, where we are trying to make those extra little details. Try some silly ideas out. Try different size eyes. Do not glue them on yet because you're going to paint them first. And here's day five. Glue it invisibly. Brainstorm any extra fun little bits that could be on there, and make sure you document your work. Hey, I want to talk a couple different ways that we can extend this project. This project winds up having two of them. The first way is to 3D print some details. Now, this is one of those mistakes that makes it better. What happened was a student turned in a little cup shape to 3D print to launch basketballs, and he made the bottom part of this cup impossibly thin for the 3D printer to print. See, there is just nothing in the center of this thing. Well, what happened was it came out looking like this, and it just works perfectly to give it this weird eyeball shape that I love. So 3D print some details, and you can also use popsicle sticks to make mechanisms to make them move. It's really handy in a classroom to have these all on a wall. And on my website, there are all these different mechanisms. Feel free to encourage your students to make some awesome things. So as I was teaching this, it's been just great to find a project that so many students can succeed at, so many students can do in so many different styles. They don't need to have that much talent in order to do something amazing. I learned while we were making this just how many different types of takes there are on it and how many different creative moves you can make, and the students were seeing it amongst each other. This has been a great project for teaching how many possibilities there are and how we can kind of forge our own unique, fun, interesting path forward while we're practicing our skills, while we're doing this stuff. That's kind of the dream for maker education, and a kind of a core piece of innovative art. Not to mention it's a super fun way just to see what's possible and to go somewhere together. I'd love to see what you would come up with if in your classrooms. Make sure you leave a comment. Tell me what you thought was compelling about this. I'm hoping to start a community of teachers and of people who want to change education to make it more creative and to really bring out what's best about our students, what's best about ourselves. That's what I'm all about. I hope to meet some people and to start gathering a community of people who think the same. Thanks.